You guys are understanding now. We've worked out the framework. We understand now how what I've taught you guys in bootcamp 1 to 6 relays now to half of the definition of a sales call. Now I'm going to show you the end of it. So obviously you guys so far understand we need to work out their current situation, their desired state. Obviously show our solution as the only bridge, but we also need to break any limiting beliefs that have been preventing them from crossing this bridge. And that's what a sales call is, right? You guys understand how to paint the desired and the current state in their head, okay? Through doing the what, the who, and the why in their desired, but also in their current, and doing it in your own personal life so that you can help them work out their desired and also their current. Second thing here now is helping them cross the bridge. And helping them cross the bridge comes down to multiple laws that you need to make them understand, but you also need to understand and implement in your own life, but also stuff you need to spot out, like certain words, the way they judge people, the way they talk about certain things. You'll work out that there are limiting beliefs behind these things, and these things directly relate into other things in their life which are preventing them from crossing this bridge. The first law, people, for Bootcamp Video 8 is the law of detachment, which you need to understand, but you also need to make your prospect understand. To make your prospect understand, you must also practice this in your own personal life. So this is why prospects stay stuck and how we shift their life into the 2.0. So attachment to external outcomes and the pedestal effect. So prospects are conditioned to attach their emotions to external results. When I hit this income, when I buy this thing, when I achieve this goal, and you'll realize when you start your questioning with prospects, when you guys start to understand certain parts within my framework in the later videos, you'll realize when you start to hit sales schools, right? People are going to be saying, when I hit this income, I'm going to be happy. When I buy this thing, I'm going to be feeling amazing. When I achieve this goal, I'm going to feel great. They believe the result creates the emotion. This creates the pedestal effect, where they place the goal above themselves and unconsciously create distance. Once I get X, then I'll feel confident. Once I reach Y, then I'll feel worthy. But by doing this, you disconnect the emotions of the 2.0 version of themselves. But through Be Do Have, we know you must be the 2.0 identity first, then do the actions, and then have the results. Prospects try have first, which guarantees failure. Your job is to help them detach from the outcome and embody the 2.0 emotions now so they feel aligned and worthy of taking action. And essentially, let me give you guys a quick overview of what I've even said there. But why you need to spot this in your sales calls, right, is imagine when I hit this income, when I buy this thing. First of all, it's the pedestal effect. They're creating a gap between them and that thing subconsciously. And by creating a gap between them and that thing subconsciously, what are they replaying in their head? Not them with the thing, but them looking at the thing from afar. But what happens, right? Whatever you impress into your subconscious will express back into reality because you will operate from this identity of there being a gap between you and that thing. So that means you're never going to flip and have the thing because the version of yourself that you're trying to become, when he imagines the thing, he imagines having it. So how can you truly act like him if your identity right now is not aligned with his? You can't. Therefore, you won't have those results. So it's so important for you guys to understand this law in your own life, but also for your prospects. The other thing is by them saying, okay, when I have this, when I have this, when I have this, right, I'm going to feel so happy. I'm going to feel so great. What they do here is they're putting the emotions as well on this pedestal. And by putting the emotions on the pedestal, it's the exact same thing I spoke about later. These guys they've bought into this illusion that it's like life is so much happier. Life is so much greater. Of course it's not. You, when you were broke, and you in the position you're in now, probably doesn't feel any different. Me in my position now, making a lot of money in this villa, is like, it's nice, but it's like, it's just like, it's normal, Like I can't feel happy all the time. I can't feel gassed all the time. Like my happiness is the same when I was in my uni account. It's like, you just feel normal, right? And it's like people fall into this illusion that like once you start to pursue great things, once you start to get the materialistic things, once you start to hit your goals, that life's going to be so much more insane now. Okay, and it's about making your prospect aware that it's not. Because when they start to put these emotions on pedestals, you need to understand that they now have this impatience. They start to also now put the thing on a pedestal, which means they put a gap between the thing and they do the same thing I was talking about again, this subconscious disalignment. And the third thing here, which is so important, is by them saying, when I have this Ferrari, now I'll be happy. Essentially what they're saying is, I'm not happy now. but the 2.0 version of themselves is happy. So here, the identity conflict, which means the action conflict, which means the result conflict. Now, fixating on outputs versus input, shifting to inevitability. So, this is the second main thing about why detaching is so important. First of all, when you attach, there's the pedestalization. Second of all, you now make your outputs inevitable. So when prospects fixate on outputs, attach to the outputs rather than detaching from the outputs, they can't fully control. They start to stress, okay, about revenue, timelines, client numbers, followers, views, the final result. And I'll give you certain examples of attaching to outputs. And this is exactly what prospects will do as well. Oh, I want to have a six pack. I want to have abs. Oh my gosh, I want to have 100K in 6 months. Oh my days. I want to be 10K a month in 2 days. Okay. These are output goals that they can't fully control. But what you guys need to understand is output focus creates anxiety, overthinking, doubt, paralysis, inconsistency. But when they shift inputs, everything changes. Inputs are completely controllable. Standards, habits, routines, identity, mindset, behavior, and execution. When they detach from the outputs and attach to inputs, they operate from inevitability, not fear. Because they know if I show up as the 2.0 identity and execute the inputs, the results are guaranteed. It's only a matter of time. Because what you guys need to understand, right, is our internal growth. Remember, our internal growth is what grows us because our external world is a lagging indicator of our internal growth. Where focus flows, energy goes. If you are continuously always focusing on the output goals, what now starts to lose its focus? Your inputs. But remember, our inputs are what create the outputs. So if you aren't focusing as much on the inputs, but only hyperfixated on the outputs, you'll realize the work won't be as good and you won't achieve the inputs. So it's about focusing on these inputs to allow your outputs to arise, but also allowing your prospect to understand why this is so important. You're probably thinking, why is it so important that my prospect is focused on inputs, focused on doing work, and not just so hyperfixated on the outputs? First thing, obviously, if they're focused on the outputs, we have this pedestalization. We have them operating not from the same identity. Therefore, they won't act like them. Therefore, they won't pay for whatever it is you're selling to them because they're still operating from their 1.0 identity, but want 2.0 results. The second main thing and the biggest thing here is they need to also understand and be able to know that, okay, if I go into this, success is inevitable. And by showing them this way through inputs, this is what allows them to see success inevitable because they understand that if they just do the inputs every single day, do the work every single day, show up every single day, then there is no chance of failure. There is no risk. Winning is only inevitable. So it's so important they understand this because they have come from a background where they only focus on outputs. But by focusing on outputs, because they're so hyperfixated on the money, they never truly do well in whatever it is, the vessel that they were trying to do. Okay? But remember, a winner is a loser that just tried one more time, and they need to understand this with this, and that's why you need to make them focus on the inputs, people. Super duper easy. Okay? Second thing I'm going to say about why focusing on the inputs is so important, right? Is just think about driving. When you focus on the road, that's how you drive. You don't drive by focusing on not hitting cars. It's the same thing with inputs and outputs. Focusing on outputs is like focusing on not hitting cars. Focusing on inputs is like just focusing on the road. Okay? Who's the actual better driver? The guy who focuses on the road. So guys, focus on the road, focus on doing the work every single day, and you'll understand that success is inevitable and there will be so much more peace in your journey because you're not going to be putting the things on a pedestal, but you're also going to be actually able to succeed quicker. And the peace is going to be insane because you know that you've already achieved these results. Okay? You know the things are already yours. All you now need to do is wait because our external world is a lagging indicator of our internal mind. So, understanding of the law of detachment is just so important, okay? And this section will go right after detachment, okay? Written in the same style. Understanding the law of detachment is crucial because it is psychological bridge that moves a prospect from life 1.0 to life 2.0. People, I don't know if I'm tired, but bro, it is hard to speak today. The hell is going on? Anyway, it eliminates the emotional resistance that stops prospects from taking action. When someone is emotionally attached to a result, they feel a fear of failure, a fear of judgment, a pressure, anxiety, a self-doubt. These emotions are what frees them. Detachment removes emotional attention, allowing them to take decisions from clarity, alignment, and not fear. Number two, it aligns them with the correct version of themselves. Life 1.0 operates from scarcity, attachment, neediness, outcome, dependence. Live 2.0 operates from identity, input, standards, inevitability. When prospects attach, they instantly shift towards the internal identity required to succeed. And this is the identity that buys. Because remember, people, detachment means something else needs to attach. When you detach from outcomes, you attach to inputs, but through attaching to inputs, eventually the outputs will attach to you without you having to attach to them. It will prevent self-sabotage. Okay, self-sabotage is the best thing you need to understand an emotional burnout. Attachment creates overthinking, unrealistic expectations, impatience, emotional swings, quitting when results aren't immediate, just focusing on these goals. Imagine, people, if you're focusing on 100K in 6 months, you have the stress, the overthinking, the emotional swings. Detachment replaces this with consistency, patience, stability, focus, and just trusting in the process. And remember, the process is so much more peaceful when you just attach to the inputs. And the last two things, it makes the buying decision feel natural rather than pressured. A prospect who is attached to the outcome feels desperate or scared. A prospect who is detached feels calm, aligned, and clear. Detachment shifts them from I need this to work to I already feel aligned. This just makes sense. This emotional shift makes them feel close, feel effortless. Okay? This will make the close feel effortless for them because they understand this. Okay? Because there is no risk now. And then it is the emotional foundation of be do have. You can only be the 2.0 version of yourself when you attach from needing the output. Only then can you act like that. Only then do you receive the results. Detachment is what makes be do have actually work. And remember, be do have is the foundation of what sales is. Sales is be do have, making your prospect understand that they need to operate from their identity to act like them to have certain results. If you are not attached to yourself, you can't explain to someone be do have, but your prospect also needs to understand the law of detachment so they can also operate from be do have, people. But yes, let's get to Bootcamp 9. Hopefully we're a bit more revitalized because I do not know what's going on with my cranium right now. But yes, let's get to the next video.